Over the years, there have been a lot of Christmas-themed movies and TV specials that have danced across screens both big and small. Some of them are classics, like A Muppet Christmas Carol, or It's a Wonderful Life. Others go out of their way to try and be extreme in their counter-programming, like Silent Night, Deadly Night, which has somehow made 6 total films over the years. Good lord. And then there are others that are just so odd and unexpected that they deserve their own list. And that's what we're doing today. I'm not sure this list should be counted as nice or naughty. We'll just say this is Jessica's weird list, which, if you know me, that's actually a compliment. This list isn't in any particular order, except for the last one I'll cover because it manages to trump everyone on the sheer weird that it managed to be. Also, I'm going to cheat because there are 2 that deserve their own highlight reel. It's my list, I do what I want. So buckle up as we climb on Santa's sleigh to fly through some of the oddest entries in the land of Christmas entertainment.
You'll be as safe here as you are in your own home.
I ain't got a home.
2009's A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey. I think a lot of people have forgotten this one, but I remember seeing this in the theater and how outright creepy it was. This version of Dickens' tale came out 5 years after the uncanny valley that was the Polar Express. And Carrey plays not just Scrooge, but every one of the ghosts that visit him. That includes the weird candle that was the ghost of Christmas past, the weirdly Burger King looking ghost of Christmas present, and the Grim Reaper ghost of Christmas future. Carrey had already become an unofficial king of Christmas in 2000 with his live-action Grinch, which is one of my favorites. The animation in this is unsettling. Not as unsettling as that movie poster showing Scrooge straddling what I think is a bell and having that "oh" face going on. It was all done with motion capture as well, but the cast is impressive and includes Gary Oldman, Colin Firth, Bob Hoskins, Cary Elwes, and Robin Wright. It should be no surprise that Robert Zemeckis also wrote and directed this, just as he did Polar Express. Honestly, this version of A Christmas Carol really runs with the very much there horror elements of Dickens' story. The UK has a history of telling ghost stories at Christmas time, and this one is a classic if ever there was one. Characters just look so damn unnerving though.
And I fear it may not be pleasant to you, but allow me to ask your pardon.
1994's We Wish You a Turtle Christmas. The TMNT Christmas special from 1994 features the live-action turtles, and if you thought the mocap animation was disturbing from our first entry, it's nothing compared to the creepy, dead-eyed turtles that are trancing about the city to find Splinter a gift. Between the rictus grin that seems permanently there, to Michelangelo randomly breaking into opera for some reason, to Splinter's 12 Days of Christmas gift list, which included 12 April O'Neil autographs, 4 manhole covers, someone has probably fell to their death over this one, and 9 narrow neckties, which is a choice for a giant man-sized rat. By the way, Splinter looks like he needs a lot of sleep here. We Wish You a Turtle Christmas followed on the heels of the Coming Out of Their Shells tour, which was a live tour that the costume versions of the Turtles did, as well as an actual record they released. The movie features a few of the songs from that. I feel bad for the poor real turtles that are filmed walking around green goo in this. This feels so absolutely early 90s, it made my bones crumble a little. Also, those turtle costumes are really disturbing.
Totally bodacious!
1985's HeMan and Shira, a Christmas special. Let's be real for a moment. HeMan, Shira, and their motley crews were an ad for the toys, and I'm okay with that. The toys came first, the cartoon second. I love Masters of the Universe and the Shira series, all of the old and some of the new. But this Christmas special is a very strange entry into the Motu pantheon. Basically, the special is an excuse to have all of the characters from Shira and HeMan come together in one 45-minute, give or take, episode. The special, thanks to Orko messing up a new spacecraft, manages to bring 2 kids from Earth to Eternia. This all happens during Adam and Adora's birthday. Who knew that HeMan and Jesus shared a birthday? Long story short, when the kids start talking about Christmas, While there's a subplot about a crystal needed for fuel, Horde Prime, the big boss, decides that Christmas needs to be stopped. This goads Skeletor and Hordak to battle it out over who gets to give the boss his requested Christmas present. After a series of fights, Skeletor, of all people, starts feeling nice, much to his charging. Miguel and Alicia must be the stupidest kids ever, as they thank Skeletor and are all, gee shucks, every other scene with him. Eventually, Skeletor winds up saving the kids from Horde Prime after bonding with Relay and not knowing why he suddenly felt this urge to be nice. He's explained to by HeMan and Shira that Christmas makes people feel good. They've obviously never worked retail during this time of year. To which Skeletor utters the magic line, "But I don't like to feel good. I like to feel evil." The special is really, really odd, all things considered.
Well, I don't like to feel good. I like to feel evil. Oh.
1986, Smoky Mountain Christmas. Confession time. I love this movie. I love Dolly Parton. And what's better than Dolly Parton? Having Dolly Parton take on a backwoods red-headed witch who wants to fight her and the $6 Million Man. If that sort of story appeals to you, then you too will love Smoky Mountain Christmas. Shown on ABC in December of '86, the movie was co-written by Parton and features songs written by her and her uncle. It co-stars Lee Majors, Bo Hopkins, John Ritter, Anita Morris, and Dan Hedaya. The story is a slight spin on the Snow White story, with Parton playing Lorna Davis, who is basically Dolly Parton. She's a popular singer trying to hide away from the media and discovers the cabin she was to stay at is now the home of 7 orphans. Remember when I said it's Snow White? Well, there's a woodsman in the form of Mountain Dan, played by Majors, who saves Lorna from an evil witch named Jezebel. We missed an opportunity here, Jolene fans. Truly. Jezebel eventually tries to poison Lorna while dressed as an old woman with a pie. Snow White again. But it doesn't work. Eventually, Lorna adopts all 7 kids. Eat your heart out, Angelina Jolie. And she spends Christmas with her new bionic honey and family. Smoky Mountain Christmas works because of Dolly and the awesome evil witch played by Anita Morris. It's a wholesome, semi-modern fairy tale, and Dolly's charm all the way through it comes through. But I have to tell you that I would have given a kidney for Elvira to be the witch in this opposite Dolly. I mean, I don't know if we would have had enough TV screens to contain all that, but we can dream. Can't we?
Throw this creep out of here.
It will be the most enormous pleasure, madam.
Speaking of dreams, 1984, A Christmas Dream. Emmanuel Lewis and Mr. T were everywhere in the 80s. So of course, why not create a variety show Christmas special where Mr. T is sort of Santa Claus and Emmanuel Lewis isn't Webster, but he is Webster. Only he's named Billy and he hates Christmas. So Santa T has to teach him the meaning of Christmas, as well as his parents, who are sort of non-existent. This NBC movie has a random selection of guest stars and takes place all around the NBC offices in New York. The guest stars include David Copperfield, Willie Tyler and Lester, the Rockettes, Maureen McGovern, and the American Boys Choir, as well as ice skaters Ty Babylonia and Rodney Gardner. It's probably no surprise this was, quote-unquote, written by a gent named Frank Slocum. Slocum is credited for writing numerous David Copperfield specials and beauty pageants.
I said I didn't have any relatives, but I got lots of friends. And this time of year, real life family.
1985, The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. You really thought we'd not have a Rankin Bass one on here? This was actually based on a book of the same name that was written in 1902 by L. Frank Baum, the man who gave us The Wizard of Oz. The reason this one made it on the list is that it's the most off-the-wall telling of Santa's life I can really think of. It tells the story of how the jolly old elf becomes an immortal being. Also how he's raised by a lioness after he's left in her care by another immortal elf while Claus is still a baby mortal. There's a whole war between fairy creatures who are bad, the Aguas, and the good immortals too. We find out how Claus got his reindeer and starts his deliveries of Christmas toys. The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus is, as always when it comes to Rankin Bass Productions, really lovely. It's just such an off-the-wall telling of the story of Santa, and it's another of those specials that it seems like a lot of people may have forgotten exist because I don't hear it talked about nearly as much as Rudolph or Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Thank you, Great Hack. I will try to be worthy of the mantle.
1982, Christmas comes to Pac-Land. The 80s belonged to Pac-Man. That's just how it was. There were the video games, the song about the fever, and there was the cartoon series starring the scratchy voice of Marty Ingalls. The cartoon series and this special aired on ABC and was not missed Saturday morning viewing. See us youngins back in the day, we had Saturday morning cartoons, and it was epic. Random as hell, the Pac-Man special was similar in that the main characters, aka the Pac family, have no idea what Christmas is and learn about it from Santa himself after his sleigh crashes in their land. Over the course of the special, the ghosts learn about Christmas from Pac-Man after he learns about it from Santa. And then they give speed pills, power pellets, to the reindeer so they can make their deliveries for Christmas. The simple fact there is a PacMan Christmas special should be enough for you to see why this was included. On top of that, it includes the voices behind Optimus Prime and Megatron, Peter Cullen and Frank Welker in the cast.
May not have any power pellets, but we got plenty of snowball.
1985, Santa Claus the movie. Before there was Tim Allen's Santa Claus, there was Santa Claus the movie, and Dudley Moore. Yep, Dudley Moore is an elf in the North Pole. Don't worry, it gets weirder. Santa Claus the movie actually tackled the whole corporate greed taking over Christmas long before the movie Elf did. It's another of those forgotten sort of films because a lot of people don't talk about it. Did I mention it's directed by the same guy who did Jaws 2 and Supergirl? He did Somewhere in Time as well. Janot Swark had range. The film tells how Santa was foretold to the elves in the North Pole and how he would help them create the toys for all the children in the world. When Moore's Patch, an elf who has big ideas, creates automation to help in production, things go wrong and he leaves. He then joins forces with an evil businessman named BZ, played in Scenery Chewing Glory by John Lithgow. It's up to Santa Claus and some kids to save the day and to save Dudley Moore. Santa Claus the movie is a weird take that could only be born of the 80s, and surprise! Studio Canal announced in November a 4K restoration of the flick is going to be released on Blu-ray and digital. And wow, it looks really pretty.
Maybe it's the massive bulk of it. I never did an extra large before.
Okay, we're down to our final two, so I'm going to do a special honorable mention to one of the building blocks of my adolescence, Mystery Science Theater 3000. We've got movie sign, whether we want it or not, and thanks to MST3K, I know of 2 Christmas flicks that are 2 of the strangest ever made. These are just too weird to be included, they deserve their own spot. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians and the simply titled Santa Claus. Oh, good God, these 2 films.
Don't fall away. Oh, what fun it is.
Santa Claus Conquers the Martians has Santa being kidnapped so he can make toys for Martian kids, because the kids are fascinated by him and Christmas. I can't do real justice to this movie, but even more bizarre than Santa taking on aliens is Santa taking on Satan. That's actually the other name for this film, Santa Claus versus the Devil, but it was shown on MST3K as just plain Santa Claus. Spoiler, there's nothing plain about this. Okay, now back to the last 2 on the list. 1988, Christmas at Peewees Playhouse. Pee-wee Herman was a gift in and of himself, and back in the late 80s, he gave us one of the most special guest and weirdness-packed holiday specials ever with Christmas at Peewees Playhouse. Much like the regular Saturday morning series, the episode has a moral at its heart while surrounded by crazy exploits and the crew of the Playhouse. This one, by the end, has Pee-wee realizing that Christmas isn't about all the presents, which Pee-wee's list could probably wrap around North America twice, but about sharing and giving to those you love and who are less fortunate. But while this lovely lesson is learned, Pee-wee has a list of guest stars that defies all logic, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Besides the usual cast, which included Lawrence Fishburne, William Marshall, I still love the fact that Morpheus and Blackula were in this show, was John Paragon as Zombie, and Lynn Marie Stewart as Miss Yvonne. But added to the cast this go-round was, I kid you not, Charo, the Del Rubio triplets, Frankie and Annette, Whoopi Goldberg, Magic Johnson, Joan Rivers, Katie Lang, Dinah Shore, Oprah, Zsa Zsa Gabor, freaking Cher, Little Richard, and in a moment that lives rent-free in my head forever, Grace Jones, who emerges from a packing crate and sings Little Drummer Boy.
You're not the president. You're Pee-wee Herman.
Duh!
And now for number 1. 1978, the Star Wars Holiday Special. Oh God in heaven, the Star Wars Holiday Special. The creation that in the land of legend was so embarrassing and weird that George Lucas tried to pull a Bram Stoker's Widow on it and have every copy destroyed like she did with Nosferatu. The Star Wars Holiday Special. I remember seeing this when I was 3. No joke. And later in life, while I rewatched it, I realized I had been scarred for life, and that's how I could remember it. The late Carrie Fisher said she was so high during the making of this, she doesn't remember actually making it. I don't think Harrison Ford will talk about it, and for whatever reason, they have Mark Hamill wearing more makeup than even Carrie Fisher. But that's just the regular Star Wars crew. Let's talk about Chewbacca's family, who don't speak in any other way but in Wookiee. Then realize that Chewie's wife is played by a really big dude in a suit. The whole plot about getting Chewie home for Life Day, the Star Wars equivalent of Christmas, will long be forgotten when the cast of guests shows up and you see what they're doing. Art Carney winds up peddling galactic porn to Chewie's dad, Itchy, which features Diane Carroll. No, I wish I was making that part up. Then B. Arthur sings while she runs the Mos Eisley Cantina. There's a cooking show with Harvey Korman dressed in drag as a multi-armed alien Julia Child. And Jefferson Starship shows up. And in the middle of all this madness, this is the first appearance of Boba Fett ever during a cartoon segment. This is the one part of the special that makes some sense. I still find it amusing just how much the version of Han Solo in this looks like Adam Driver, who would play his son years later. It's not just me, is it? You see it too, right? The Star Wars Holiday Special defies real description. You simply have to experience it. Years ago, I sent a copy of it to Simon Pegg, along with a drinking game I created to be used to help/enhance the viewing experience. Be warned, you might die at some point if you follow it. I'll include a link below for those brave enough to experience it. And there you have it, kids. My list for the 10 weirdest holiday specials/films around. You can find a number of these on YouTube, as well as on Blu-ray and DVD. Go forth and enjoy the weird and wonderful holiday season. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and whatever you celebrate. Have fun and stay weird.